sun burns like a knife upon the ocean soars, and I sail where sea meets sky, far from Capernaum shore. Those days I do remember, when my Lord called unto me, when He bid me lay my nets down by the shores of fair Galilee, Galilee of the nations.
I love beaches. I love walking on beaches, especially in the evening like this. And one of my favourite stories about the appearance of the risen Christ comes from the Gospel of John. And it's the episode where Jesus is on the shore by the Sea of Galilee. And I love this story because it's full of lots of meaning, and it's got an incredible depth and full of symbolism. But it's also got a wonderful, gentle display of the character of Jesus and his relationship with Peter. Peter and the disciples had seen Jesus' passion and death, and they had also by this time perhaps seen the risen Christ. But it's almost as if they don't know what to do with this experience, this amazing event of the resurrection, and what to do with their lives. And so Peter says that memorable phrase, "I'm going fishing." It's almost as if Peter is winding the clock back to go back to his old life, giving up the call that he had received at the very same place by the shore of the Sea of Galilee. So it's early morning after a dark night, and this stranger appears on the shore about 100 yards away. And he calls out to the disciples in the boat, "Have you caught anything, friends?" And they say, "No, we've fished all night and we've caught nothing." And then Jesus says, "Well, cast your net out into the deep on the other side of the boat." And they have this massive catch, and so much so that they can't even haul it into the boat. It's a miracle. Who does miracles? Jesus. So they make a beeline for the shore, and there they encounter Jesus, who has cooked food and prepared food for them. And then he says to Peter, he says, "Bring some of the fish you have just caught." And so Peter goes off and he hauls the net ashore with 153 big fish in it. And then Jesus calls Peter again, and it's interesting how this conversation develops. He says, "Simon Peter, do you love me more than these others do?" And Peter says, "Yes, Lord, you know I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my lambs." Then a second time, "Do you love me more than these others do?" And Peter says, "Yes, Lord, you know I love you." And Peter was upset that Jesus then would ask him a third time, "Do you love me?" And he said, "Yes, Lord, you know everything. You know I love you." And Jesus says, "Look after my sheep." So it's almost as if, it was in fact Jesus calling him back again to his call. And Jesus doesn't talk about the denials. He doesn't point the finger. He doesn't even say, "Tell me you're sorry," or "I forgive you." That's looking at the past. That's winding the clock back. Instead, Jesus talks about the here and the now. Do you love me? And he talks about the future too. Feed my lambs, feed my sheep. He talks about love. And Christ's love can change time. It can heal time and give a purpose. It can give a future. 153 fish. Why 153? Well, Greek writers who wrote about nature reckoned that there were 153 different species of fish in the world. So when Peter goes and gets those fish and he hauls the net ashore, it's a symbol of, the whole of humanity, because Jesus had said, from now on, it won't be fish, it'll be men you will catch. So it's a kind of sign to show that Peter will bring the whole of humanity to Christ. So Jesus is winding the clock forward, and he's given Peter this mission to bring the whole world to know him. But he also says it will cost. And he tells Peter, basically, you're going to die for the sake of the gospel. Not everyone is called to leave their homeland and to go and carry out a mission abroad. Not everyone is called to leave their fishing nets or their home. Some are, yes, and those are missionaries. And they do so, but it also has a cost to be a missionary. I remember every time I used to come home, it was a great joyful thing. I used to come home every 3 years. And then when I was leaving, we would go to the station or the airport, and there was floods of tears because we didn't know if we would see one another again. And I remember once I went to see my mother the night before I was leaving. She was 89, and she looked at me and she said, well, son, she said, this might be the last time that we see one another. Don't you die. Yes, there is a cost, but missionaries also receive so much in the places that they go to. And there are many missionaries from Scotland who have gone abroad, overseas, who have helped to found the church and to support the young church. And now we are receiving missionaries who are coming from India, from Nigeria, Tanzania, different countries, and they come here to support us. They come here to feed us with the Eucharist, to feed us spiritually, as Christ fed his disciples. And that's what the church is about. It's about this mutual support that we have for one another, that we're not just one little church here or one little church there, that we support one another. And through the Pontifical Mission Societies, through Missio, you have been supporting the church abroad, and you know that church now is supporting us in our need. Christ fed his disciples, and we receive food as well. And Pope Leo's intention for the month of May is that everyone might have food. And he says, let us pray that everyone, from large producers to small consumers, be committed to avoid wasting food and to ensure that everyone has access to quality food. Sometimes as missionaries, our job is to feed people spiritually, but also sometimes to feed them with actual physical food. And we all have to be conscious of the fact that in our world there are many people who do not have food, or who don't have enough food, who are malnourished. And so let's really pray that there is this sense of justice towards those who are in need of nutrition and proper food. And keep that intention in our hearts for the month of May. In that way then the whole church is united with our Holy Father.
And hey, little fish, way down under the sea, why are you laughing and smiling at me? Yes, my Lord walks here on waters so deep, while all the stars shine and all fishes